got something really beautiful to share with you today. Something that truly embodies the spirit of Phoenix Fortis. That idea of rising from the ashes, finding strength in vulnerability, and building something incredible from what might seem like nothing at all. I'm your host, Diane, and today's story is one of quiet desperation, unexpected connection, and the incredible ripple effect that can come from the simplest of human acts, reaching out. And I'm honored to have with me someone who lived this journey, who took a step so small, so raw, and yet it changed everything. Ian, welcome to Phoenix Fortis.
Thank you, Diane. It's a privilege to be here, and honestly, it feels important to share. I think there are a lot of people who need to hear this right now.
It absolutely is important, and I agree completely. Let's go back to the beginning. What led you to write that post? What was happening in your life?
It was a really dark period, honestly. I'd been feeling this deep, heavy loneliness for a while, a kind of exhaustion that seeped into everything. You know, that feeling where you're surrounded by people, maybe, but you still feel invisible. That was me. Every day felt like a struggle just to get through, and I was so tired of pretending I was okay. I remember feeling so isolated, like I was shouting into a void, and no one was hearing me. I'd reached a point where I couldn't carry it anymore. The weight of it was crushing, and I honestly felt like I was at my absolute breaking point. And it was in that moment, that absolute low, that I decided to do something completely out of character. I was sitting in this little place on the corner of 3rd and Elm, Stewart's coffee house. Quiet, cozy, but I felt completely invisible. And then this thought just popped into my head. It was like a last desperate plea, a tiny flicker of something.
A flicker of hope, even in that darkness.
Exactly, but it was also a test. I thought, if I put this out there, if I make myself this vulnerable and still nothing happens, then I'll know. It was a terrible thought, but it felt true at the time. So I opened up the local community Facebook group, a place I mostly just scrolled through, and I just typed. I didn't overthink it. I wrote exactly what I was feeling. I'm at Stewart's coffee house on 3rd and Elm. I could really use someone to talk to. I don't know who you are, but I hope you're kind. That was it. Simple, raw, and utterly terrifying to post. I remember my finger hovering over the post button, my heart just pounding. It felt like I was putting my entire self on display, naked and exposed. But I did it. I pressed send.
Ian, I can only imagine the sheer vulnerability of that moment. To put such a raw, honest plea out into the world, not knowing what or who would come back. What was going through your mind after you posted it?
It was a strange mix. Immediately, there was a wave of regret like, what have I done? This is insane. But then there was this quiet waiting. A tiny part of me, the part that was still clinging to something, was just hoping. I told myself I'd wait for an hour. If no one showed, then that was it. It would just confirm what I already believed about myself, about my place in the world. It was a very quiet, very personal countdown. The hour started to stretch, each minute feeling like an eternity. I kept glancing up, scanning faces, then quickly looking down at my phone again, pretending to be busy. Every person who walked by, every group that laughed, it just reinforced the feeling. See, I thought, you don't matter, no one cares. It was getting harder and harder to breathe, that knot in my chest tightening with every passing second.
Oh, Ian, my heart aches just hearing that. That crushing confirmation of your deepest fears.
Yeah, it was brutal. I watched the clock, the numbers crawling. 50 minutes, 55, my shoulders slumped. I started to gather my things, just slowly, deliberately, trying to prepare myself for that final cold confirmation. I was about to stand up, to just walk out and disappear, when I heard a soft voice. "Excuse me?" I looked up, and there she was, a woman, maybe around my age, standing by my table. She had kind eyes, and she just looked gentle. She didn't have a phone out. She wasn't looking around nervously. She just looked directly at me. And then she sat down just across from me. She didn't push or pry, didn't ask a single question. She just looked at me and said, "I saw your post. I'm here."
Wow, Just those words? I'm here! It must have been like a dam breaking inside you. After all that agonizing wait?
It was everything. It wasn't loud or dramatic. It was just quiet, present. And in that moment, all that crushing weight, all that despair, it just lifted. Not completely, but it cracked. And we just sat there for a moment in comfortable silence. And then, slowly, we started to talk. Nothing heavy at first, just small things. But it was connection. Real, tangible connection.
And what did that feel like, Ian, to have that first crack of light come through?
It was indescribable. Like coming up for air after being underwater for too long. We talked for a bit, this woman and I, just simple things. Her name was Megan. And then, maybe 10 or 15 minutes after Megan arrived, another person approached the table. A man a bit older with kind, tired eyes. He didn't say anything at first, just stood there hesitantly, looking between us.
Waiting, perhaps, to see if he was welcome?
Exactly. Megan caught his eye and gave a small, encouraging nod. And then he said, I saw the post too. My wife, she passed away last year. Sometimes I just really miss having someone to talk to. And he just sat down, and it felt so natural, like he was meant to be there. And then it happened again. A young girl, maybe 16 or 17, with her headphones around her neck, shyly walked over. Her hands were fidgeting, and she quietly said, I have really bad anxiety. I saw your post, and I just needed to be here. And then a few minutes later, a retired veteran, a gruff but gentle man, joined us too, saying, I just miss my buddies, you know? Haven't had a good chat in a while.
Ian, this is absolutely incredible. A spontaneous gathering of souls, all drawn by this quiet cry for connection.
It was surreal. One by one, these strangers, all quietly aching in their own ways, all longing for something real, they just showed up. No fanfare, no judgment, just presence. For the next hour, we just sat there, and we talked. Not just about pain, though that was certainly there, but about life, about small joys, silly observations, shared experiences. It was a kaleidoscope of humanity, all brought together by a simple Facebook post.
It's a testament to how many people are out there quietly needing exactly this, just to be seen, to be heard. And you, Ian, provided that space.
I didn't plan it, of course. I just reached out because I was at my breaking point. But in that hour, with those beautiful strangers, I realized I wasn't alone. None of us were. When it was time to leave, it felt like we'd known each other for years. We exchanged numbers, every single one of us. And we agreed to meet again right there, the very next week.
In that decision to meet again, what did that first reunion feel like? Was it just the original group, or did more people start to gravitate towards this incredibly powerful ripple you created?
The following week, when I got there, I was a little nervous. Would anyone show up? Would it just be me again? But then I saw Megan, and the man who lost his wife, and the young girl with anxiety, and the veteran. They were all there, already waiting. And then, as we started talking, two new faces tentatively approached. People who had heard about it. Maybe from the original group, or maybe they just saw my old post again and decided to take a chance. And that's when it hit me. This wasn't just a one-off moment of desperation anymore. This was becoming something. We talked for hours that day. It wasn't formal, just conversations, shared silences, and the knowledge that we were all in it together. And from that day on, it just grew.
A true community blossoming from such a raw, vulnerable seed. It's truly beautiful, Ian. How did it evolve into the full-fledged support group it is today?
It was organic. We kept meeting, same place, same time every week. Word spread. People brought friends, family members who were also struggling. We started sharing resources, offering practical advice. But mostly, it was just about showing up for each other, listening, holding space. We realized we needed a name, a little structure to welcome new faces and make sure everyone felt truly supported. So, we became the Listening Circle. It's still open to anyone who needs a kind ear, a safe place to share, or just to sit in comfortable silence among others who understand. It's amazing, Diane, that moment on the bench when I felt utterly invisible. It turned into the foundation of a community where everyone is seen, everyone is heard, and no one is ever truly alone. We've had people come through who were at their lowest, just like I was. And to see them, weeks later, months later, find their footing, start to smile again, offer support to newcomers. It's the most humbling, hopeful thing I've ever been a part of.
Ian, it's profoundly moving. To think that from such a moment of profound aloneness, you sparked something so vital, so deeply human. It really underscores the incredible power of vulnerability, doesn't it? Of one person having the courage to reach out, to say, I need help. And then the kindness of strangers, the willingness to show up for one another. It creates ripples that change lives.
It does. It absolutely does. I think about it every single week when we meet. It's more than just a group now, Diane. It's a movement, I guess you could say, in its own quiet way. We've had people come who were on the absolute brink, who found us because someone they knew mentioned us, or they saw a post online. And they sit with us, sometimes not saying a word for weeks, just listening, just being present. And then, one day, they might share something small, a tiny crack in the wall they've built. And that's when the magic happens.
It sounds like you've created a space where people feel safe enough to be truly vulnerable, without judgment. That's such a precious gift in a world that often feels so quick to judge. What's been the most profound shift you've witnessed in someone, or even in yourself through this experience?
For myself, it's been a profound lesson in radical honesty. That moment on the bench, when I thought no one would come, that was my absolute lowest. To see it transform into this thriving space, filled with laughter and tears and genuine human connection. It's taught me that asking for help isn't a weakness. It's the strongest thing you can do. And for others, oh, there are so many stories. I remember a woman, Sarah, who came to us after losing her business and her husband. She was so withdrawn, barely looked up. For months, she just sat. But slowly, little by little, she started engaging. First, a nod, then a quiet thank you. Now, she's one of our most active members, always bringing tea and cookies from her new bakery, reaching out to new people. She found her voice again, found a reason to connect. It's like watching flowers bloom in the desert.
That image, Ian, it's so powerful. Flowers blooming in the desert. It truly speaks to the resilience of the human spirit when given just a little bit of warmth and connection. Your story, your simple act of reaching out has clearly planted so many seeds of hope.
It really has. And Diane, it's been 2 years now. 2 years since that day I made the post. And we're no longer just a support group. We've become a community. We celebrate birthdays. We help people move. We check in when someone misses a week. It's not just about surviving anymore. It's about living. Together. We've even started a small online forum for people who can't make it in person or just need a check-in between our weekly gatherings. It's proof that even in our most isolated moments, if we just whisper a little bit of our truth, someone out there is listening. Someone is waiting to connect.
That's such a beautiful progression, Ian. From that quiet, brave whisper on a Facebook page to a thriving community that echoes with connection and healing. Your story isn't just about finding hope, it's about building it, brick by empathetic brick. It reminds us all that sometimes the simplest act of vulnerability can create the most profound ripple effect. And that is truly the heart of what Phoenix Fortis is all about. And that brings us to another deeply moving episode of Phoenix Fortis. Ian, thank you for sharing your incredible story with us today. It's a powerful reminder that even in our darkest moments, the smallest flicker of courage can ignite a bonfire of connection, hope, and true resilience. The listening circle is more than a support group. It's a living testament to the power of showing up. To anyone listening right now, if you're carrying something heavy, if you felt like Ian, like maybe your voice doesn't matter, I want you to hear me clearly. You matter. Your pain is real. And your story deserves to be heard. You don't have to post in a group or start a support circle, but reach out. Whisper your truth. Because someone out there, maybe someone you don't even know yet, is waiting to listen. And if you're on the other side of that message, be the one who shows up. Sometimes, the most powerful thing we can say is simply, I'm here. And to all of you listening, thank you for being here with us. Remember, even in your quietest moments, even in the silence, you are not alone. Keep your hearts open. Be the one who listens. And above all, keep rising.